All right, guys, good morning. Let's pick up right where we left off here. Except we're going to do a touch up on these war wagons with the black primer paint. And then we'll go to, yeah, we're going to paint the war wagon. So these, like I said, this stuff didn't coat that well. It was the initial coat. No big deal. Let's do it again in a few select spots. Should just be able to use from here. Yep, that'll work. I guess I could probably mix the figures that are going to go in here in different kinds of poses. Meaning I could put some guys with, say, hand-to-hand weapons to keep them off the wagons, along with the early firearms. But I think I'm going to go all firearm because supposedly this army was known for having a high percentage of people that that had firearms in it. So the only way to get those numbers up is to put guys in the war wagons. I already did the two stands of Saloy. They all have firearms. And that's what we're planning on doing. Actually, I probably should have straightened these tires up, these wheels. Okay. Doesn't matter how many coats I do of this, it's pretty thin. We're not covering anything up. And honestly, I think this casting's been around a long time. So it's rough in many parts as well. You know? All glued with epoxy. You can't do that with super glue. Once you got something glued in the wrong place, you can't bend it. And this thing looks like it shifted a little bit. No big deal. Honestly, it hasn't been much of a pain. I remember the first one being more of a pain, just trying to figure out how to assemble it. But considering it doesn't have any instructions, or a whole lot of tabs. It went really well. And see, something like this, if I was going to spray paint it black, I'd miss so much that I might actually end up laying it on there too thick, just try to get to some of the nooks and crannies with the spray. So it's much better to just go ahead and brush paint it. I believe this is the new one. The other one we assembled is over here, so we'll give it a coat as well. Just a coat of the stuffs that we missed. It's always a space or two that you end up missing. No big deal. If you do end up finding something that you miss, it's probably in a nook or a cranny there. And even if the vehicles or the figure, whatever, is completely sealed and it's on a stand, you could probably get to the place if you absolutely needed to get there. So it's not the end of the world if that were to happen. Okay. So we'll just let these dry. That should not take long because it's not a full coat. And we'll do something else worthwhile in the meantime. All right. Let's close this thing up here. All right. I like that. Somebody came in and gave me a high five and went back to bed. Thank you, whoever you are. Okay, set these guys off to the side. And let's go back to Mr. Jeep. That's why we're working on multiple things, because while that's drying, I'm not sitting here and not doing anything. I didn't wake up at 5 in the morning not to do anything. Now, where is the little clippy thing that I'll put this stuff up. Ah, here it is. Hidden in plain sight. It's just a little magnetic. It's not super strong or anything, but it's just enough that if I put these guys in a, well, it's actually better when it's got a better surface area. But just enough that when you're traveling with these guys, they're not going to slide all over the place. Okay, so we're going to use the usual three colors that we normally use. Chocolate brown first. And let's get something somewhat small so we can get in between the tires here. All right. Let's get this ready. Wish I'd remember who gave me the idea of the contact lens case that I'm putting my thinner in there. So you can get credit. I'm sure when I find out who it is, I'll be like, that's right, it was you. Hey, I like giving people credit where credit's due. So. Mm. This is why you seal it up first. And then what will happen is this initial coat will be too wet, and I can't paint the rest of this until this coat dries. So then I'll go back to doing the war wagons, which is really strange because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to having to wait for something to be done when I'm doing my figures. Laying the paint on so thin. But with something like this, you got to cover all these little nooks and crannies and bumps and. So I want to get the part that's close to the tires. And then we can go on with something bigger. You know, people are starting to wake up, or maybe it's their lunch time. Good morning or good afternoon to you. This is definitely one of the colors I use the most, of quantity more than most of the other ones, is the Vallejo chocolate brown. All right, now we can go to something bigger. I got a bad habit on some of these. I'll get these brushes that aren't in very good shape. So when I rinse them out, I just leave them in the brush cup and it makes them worse. But, you know, I can't care about everything. All right, this one should work okay. this stuff out. And the nice thing about this basing is I don't have to worry about it ever warping. I'm pretty sure this stuff could be out in the hot sun. Not that it would be, but it wouldn't warp. It's not just any piece of plastic, it's a shim for construction stuff, so it's got a lot of unnecessary strength it doesn't need to have. It just happens to be a material that they had leftovers at work, a few pieces. Okay. And then the base color in the chocolate brown there. We're going to leave the edge of the stand how it is. On these other ones, I left it black. Maybe I didn't. All right, let's paint the edge and see what happens. Let's paint the edge. I may end up at the end of the day just end up painting the edge black like I do all my other figures. You know, these are plain pieces, so I'm not necessarily interested in building dioramas. The nice thing is it is on a magnet, so even though it's relatively thin, it still moves this thing up and off of off the edge. That I could let this dry here and it not get paint everywhere. We'll let that thing dry. All right, how's the War Wagons doing? I think we can jump on back on them. Now this is the color of the ground, the base color of the ground. So I don't want to use that as the base color of the wood for the War Wagon because I want it to pop a little bit more. Yeah, a bunker we can do here too. I don't even remember who makes this. It might be BP Cast. Okay. A drink. And I got 2 high fives when people went to bed. Perfect. Not sure what the backstory is. Maybe they turned me on. I want to go get some coffee. Hey, can't argue with that. All right, so let's look at some browns. So I said this is the color of the ground, so I don't want to use that one. Even though I will light it up, but I don't want the dark part to be that one. We got the camel black. That one I think is going to go to gray too much. This is the middle color of the ground. I don't really want to use that either. Leather brown is damn near the same color, so that's out as well. This leather brown, hey look, you could use Vallejo leather brown or War Paints leather. What's going on here? These are a light tanner. We may use this one, actually. Let's looks at the candidate. Even though I don't really like these paints, they don't mix as well. There's going to be so many levels of that. Let's go that. We're going to use that leather color. I don't like it, I'll repaint it. It's unlikely that's going to be the case, but you need to be prepared for the eventuality that you may just screw up. Okay. Black. And let's get Vallejo black out here because we want to make sure that we get some good coverage on here. All right. Let's put this in an area it's easier to get to. All right, let's use a brush. It doesn't need to be the best one I have. That one should be just fine. And we're going to need this for sure. All right, well, let's get this leather brown. Made in Denmark. So what, those butter cookies, Army Painter paint, and Legos, right? Anything else made in Denmark? I'm sure lots of other things, but Dirk, good morning. Just finished another base of early Persians and packing up now. You're probably off to bed. Over there in the other part of the world. Hey, it's finally the same day here. We finally caught up. I think. Close. All right. Which is going to be our first candidate? You know, this is too finely detailed, actually. I'm going to coat this whole thing in a really dark brown. So we could get crazy here. I need to purge some of these brushes. Yep, just gone midnight. Good morning, Kevin. Early morning again for you. Excellent. Seems like every day I enjoy sleeping less and less. Necessary evil. Okay. And let's use this sparingly. We don't want to overshoot our mark. There you go. That should be fine. So we're just going to slop this on everywhere. There's hinges. Well, let's try to avoid those if we can. So we can leave a tiny little bit of black around them. This might actually take longer than I give it credit for, but that's all right. we're going to leave these wagons with a little metal cap on the end of the wheels. Just seems appropriate. Oh shit, what the hell happened there? Got too close. No problem. Yeah, no big deal. Overreacted. I'm not used to things going sideways. Not used to that. I guess that would be considered a happy accident. We don't make mistakes, we make happy accidents. We don't usually have happy accidents either. This is kind of a nothing goes wrong here kind of thing. Well, it's obvious we're going to need more of this stuff. All right, we got plenty of that. We've hardly used that paint at all. And I've had it for about 3 years. Of course, that goes with just about all my paints, with my painting style. I hardly use them at all. Little goes a long way. I'm not complaining enough about the weather. We finally got some cold weather. Everybody else is freezing their ass off. And we got down to 42 last night, thank goodness. Because 2 days ago it was in the 80s here. No thank you. We get enough of that stuff already. The only reason I want it to be warm is if I'm going to the beach. Otherwise, it could stay cold. Which I gotta check. We might actually have a longer painting session today if the... Whoa, hello. I guess that's a happy accident. Okay. So I have this, we'll call it a pintle mount that this the camera goes on, and it slid out of it. Let's get all the way in here. That's why you shouldn't buy your camera equipment in red China. I don't know where this comes from. You know, Amazon, land of Amazon. There we go, fixed. Oh, that's why it was so wobbly. Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to a store that had all this YouTube paraphernalia, you know, camera mounts and all this stuff. They just don't have it. Places just don't have it anywhere. Guten Morgen. Hansieten. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. But you can't just go to a store and test these things out, so you gotta order it online and hopefully you get something that you don't have to return. It just worked its way out. Happy accident. Look at that. Didn't even land on anything. Or did it? Is there an angry T-34-85? I'm not sure if it landed on it. I don't think it did. I don't hear any angry Bolsheviks in there complaining. Complaining about having too much freedom. Okay. Been busy with work and lost painting mojo. Been watching your battle videos though. You've had some excellent battles recently. Um, yeah, as long as I didn't involve the Samnites. They were still good battles. I just they didn't do well for me. But yeah, we did the some big ones. Yeah, depending on how recently you're talking about. So we did a little Q&A last week. No, technically it's this week on Tuesday. And I decided to do something a little different. It was probably a bad move. We decided to do the Q&A first. And what happened is after the Q&A, I lost my gaming mojo. And I didn't want to start playing about 8:30 at night. We were going to do 4 games. And I didn't want to do the Q&A at 11 o'clock. And I didn't want to start the gaming at 8:30. So I don't know. We'll see. But I got home in a decent hour and just decided to do that instead. Because during the week, I've got to work. I've got a normal Monday through Friday schedule. Tuesday, I think, is Mitch's Sunday. So, as I like to say on our gaming day, he sits around without anything to do all day long, waiting for us to show up. So, we didn't get any gaming in. I spent all the time packing my guys together, so whatever. You know, I've played almost 900 games with him, so. So I don't really like to announce what we're going to do because things happen, you know. And I don't want to pull the rug out from under somebody because one of my pet peeves is when it gets done to me. So if you're not expecting what we're going to do, then you'll be happy with the results. And I could almost, well, I could play with the Hungarians already. I just can't use them in with war wagons, which is fine in some of the matchups. When they fight the Turks, they will not be using war wagons. They make them way too powerful. So I could have done that, but I didn't want to run out of my mojo and then said, well, I already painted them. I've already played them, so why finish building the war wagons? And I've done that before with my Russians. I don't have the knights completed on them, and I used knights from another army, and I've lost my mojo to finish them. I may get it back, but Okay, that's the bottom color on this, and we're not going to do the bottom color on both, and then and do. No, I'm going to finish one, and then we'll go back to the other one because I know me, that doesn't work for me. Oh, I missed a wheel here, a wagon wheel. I know me. I know what makes me give up. Give up. Yeah, it's going to probably take a little while for this to start looking decent. There's a lot of work to be done to it, but it's all pretty mindless stuff. All right, now we can ditch this big brush. We're going to move these tanks out of the way here. They're kind of in the drip zone. I could rinse a brush and drip some stuff on them, and I don't really want to repaint them that way. All right, now we'll go back to doing this. Let's lighten this up. Is this all the way down? It isn't. Ah, no wonder I was feeling it in my back a little bit. Now, we'll come back and do the metal afterwards. All that. Easier than trying to dance around that every time I come near it. Have I got the crew done yet or just starting? No, well, I was drawing. I was got one guy, this guy here, that I started painting him. But no, I've got a ways to go on them. But they won't take long. It's only foot figures. And I am tired of painting this army. And most people will find it surprising that I'm not really that interested in playing them. I mean, I've looked at them for 300 hours or so. I kind of don't want to see them anymore. I know. Mail them to me and I'll take care of them. Yeah, 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 whatever. That happens with all the armies. By the time I'm done with them. Ah, I'm ready to paint something else. Yeah, this paint definitely behaves different than Vallejo. It almost seems like it has more acrylic in it, less pigment, and it's a little bit grainy. I don't know, it's like watery and grainy at the same time. It's weird. Yeah, it's strange. Oh well. We got 3/4 of a later Muslim Indian army done. I just lost inspiration to paint them. Yeah, yeah, it happens. I got the figures to do one of those as well, but I don't know. My Muslim armies have a habit of not doing really well for me, which is a shame because I really like painting them. Not going to keep me from painting them, just. There we go. As it starts to come to life. It's made out of a dead tree, but it's coming to life. Doesn't really do it justice on the pictures. It doesn't come out right. It's the 720, it's the lighting. I'm seeing things different than show up on the video. Okay, let's go over to this side and see what we got here. Oh, this casting is just a mess. It's got a big like notch here on the side. See, almost like this cut here. You just have to deal with it. I'm not gonna fill it. I'm not gonna, ain't nobody got time for that. Not gonna do all that. We'll just make the best of it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, midnight. I was up pretty late last night. I stopped at 10 something painting and then I'd had some coffee, so I had trouble going to sleep. So I may have to take a nap today. Uh-huh. Australian Greg, you're here in Goldboom. Goldboom at Mark's place. We'll be playing at Push of Pike tomorrow. 14 playing. I'll watch for a while before lights out. Australia, where they have conventions. Or, mini meets. That's all right. I get to play every week, so I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about that. I'll find something else to complain about. If I really need to that badly. Australia, the land of conventions. Although that's just, you guys have just a dozen guys that get together kind of in a private. I think you guys rent a place, right? But it's still kind of a private thing. Invitation only. So, good for you guys. They're supposedly going to have a meeting on Sunday about Historicon, but supposedly that's still not on the table. I think they canceled the Cold Wars 3 months out, so I suspect we won't know until April about Historicon, but I don't care that much if they hold it or not. It'd be nice to go, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. You save a long car ride. I saved 4 days of vacation. You have 32 playing in the DBMM Teams Comp at Easter. That's a lot of people. How many crew are you thinking for each war wagon? I'm thinking 4 shooters, all aiming the same direction, which will be the front. The front will be this side. Okay, this will be the front of the stand. So when they move forward, they're going to move like this. So that the aiming side is always towards the front. And one guy back here in the back with holding a flag behind it. And then we're going to have some kind of a crest here on the front of them. It's going to be all wood, both of them. That's what I'm thinking. So I have to change at any moment, but that's what I pulled out. I pulled out 8 shooters. This army was known for having a lot of firearms, and the only way I can get firearms in a mix-up of this army is to put them on a war wagon or Saloy. So both stands of the Saloy have firearms. And well, there's one Saloy, it's mandatory. It has crossbows. The other 2 have firearms, and then we're going to have firearms in here. So that's at least my thought about it. apt to change at any moment. Get some better light in here. No. Yeah, so I don't know what the convention scene is going to be for us. I just assume to wait until things get back to normal. And by back to normal, I mean 2019. No, if they don't get that way for a while, then I'm not really that interested in going to conventions. We need to go to shows a lot less than some other people. So we're still playing every week. Armies range from Sumerians to Hawaiians. So only people with no feet, with no clothes on, huh? Hawaiians actually seems to be a fairly popular army for obscure as they are. And by obscure, I mean there's not that many manufacturers that make figures for them. But I know several people have them, several people that have posted pictures of them online. Honestly, they seem pretty cool. Mitch has a Hawaiian painted army. My buddy Jeff used to have one. He was the first one that I saw. I believe Ian in South Africa, he posted lots of pictures of his that he had. I believe he's from South Africa. I think he is. Um, yeah, kind of cool guys. Lots of Mitches. Okay. Mitches with bitches. Rutabaga Mitch and the four turnips. He's been slacking. We need to come up with a new catchphrase for him. Played it against Maori last weekend. Masses of fast played and nothing else. Oh, who makes figures for Maori? I want to say there was a like Evil Gong or somebody like that used to make figures for them, or that another Australian. There's a. Don't you guys have a company in Australia? It's called Hall of the Mountain King or something like that. It's not that, but it's something like that. Hall of the Warrior or something. There's some manufacturer that. Oh, there's also the MY miniatures, right? There's like three of those manufacturers that just don't post pictures of what their figures look online. MY, Evil Gong, and Hall of the something Warrior or something. They see if I got it right. No. Okay. How do I know about that stuff? I surf a lot. But we Wish they had pictures for all that stuff on there. Figure manufacturers you don't hear much about. The other one is, I don't even know if they're still in business, is one in Italy called Camelot Miniatures. They make some, they make some stuff that other people make as well, but their poses are a little different. But I've seen pictures of some of their stuff. Just that you're going to go through all the trouble of making the molds and stuff. You should, I would think, want to advertise your stuff a little bit better so people would know about them. But hey, you run your company how you feel like it. Hall of the Ancient Warrior, something like that. Oh, Mountain King. And honestly, if the best thing you could do is you take pictures of your miniatures if you have them. Just give them kind of a really thin wash, like a really thin black wash, and put those up there. You don't have to get your figures painted. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably better not to show them painted because you could be deceived by. You could look at figures that'd be perfectly fine, but somebody painted them and maybe they didn't do a good job and doesn't do you justice. So I actually enjoy painting figures that I call second tier. That's figures that are either so old or nobody gives them a second look. You know, I don't need to paint figures that already paint themselves. There's enough people already painting those. What are we looking at? 640. Okay, I was told at 6:45. I gotta go check with somebody that's sleeping right now to see if they're. What's the temperature at right now? 42 degrees. We may not have her go swim. It's a bit cold. We'll see. Now you're going to be humming Hall the Mountain King all day. There's worse things to be humming. I don't know what that song is originally about. Of course, it's an instrumental, so it could be about whatever the hell you feel like about it. That's why I like music with no lyrics because then it can be about whatever you want it to be about. I always think of dwarves, always, and I always put that song in the same category that the Sugar Plum Fairy stuff is, like the Christmas music that's not Christmas. I may be wrong. I'm not really sure what the background story of that song is, but I like those instrumental things that can be about everything else, anything else we want to be. But yeah, I am a big fan of songs with no lyrics. I think about it like musical poetry. What's the song about? What do you want to be? What do you want it to be about? And I'm terrible about lyrics. I don't hear well, so picking out lyrics is something I'm horrendous at. wonder if anybody's remade that song, like in the style that the Trans-Siberian Orchestra or something like that. That's a thought. When I first started painting, I used to listen to music all the time. And then I'm like, let me listen to talk. And it's just, this works the best for me to stay on task. Just the monologue to the world here. Okay, we're going to keep bringing this up, but look at what we got here. Really, really thin, takes a long time, but time well spent. Love making things look like they're made of wood when they're not. Okay. Yeah, always makes me think of dwarves. I mean, what else is a mountain king? I don't watch much TV, but lately I have. I have been. I'm enjoying this little World War II kick I'm on, and that's kind of my first love in wargaming. Um, ever from since I was about 13 years old. So from the early 80s, that's always been my thing. So, but haven't really played it much in miniature form in the last 20 years. So, thanks DBA, but but I'm enjoying watching stuff on that now, especially with new information that's happened since I really haven't been that involved in it. So, been watching some videos from the chieftain, the guy that does the walk around on the tanks, and those have been fun. That stuff's particularly interesting to me because of the skirmish gaming that I do. That stuff's important. The fighting ability of the crew makes a big difference. All right, it's 6:45. I will be right back with a weather report. And it's kind of like the groundhog. I'll see if I'll be able to paint for another 2 hours, or winter comes early, or that be summer comes early and I can't paint. Yeah. Be right back, folks. And I'll get a refill of coffee. Okay, we're back. Well, there's going to be no swimming, so you guys get to do, see more painting. All right, we have to have a little snack because eyes be hungry. I really need to get off my ass and take a picture of some of this stuff in daylight. I have really good lighting, but not like daylight. So I'm thinking what we're going to do with these guys, we're going to paint them all the way. We're going to seal them. We're going to pop them off the stand. And then I think we're going to grab them and cut most of the stuff off their legs. And then put them on the a file and file them down to where there's not much under the legs. And then we'll epoxy them down on the thing. I'm not going to put holes in them and pin them down because I don't know how they're exactly going to fit next to each other. I'm going to take way too much planning. Okay. I got one guy, and I don't remember what his name is. He's a really good painter. I know that much. I think he's the guy that does buildings. One of these guys does buildings. It's just like makes you want to paint buildings and try some of this stuff on it. But anyhow, and by buildings I mean 20 mil buildings, stuff like that, not just the little 6 mil ones I do. Although that's I think what he does. But anyhow, I digress. He every time he posts what day of lockdown he's in like third 42nd day of third lockdown or something like that. You guys may know who I'm talking about. He's a really good painter. If it's the guy I'm thinking of. Man, you guys still on lockdown out there? More of what you don't want and less of what you do. I'm glad we're not locked down because we're kicking ass at work, so we're super busy. So I hate to be super busy at work and then not be able to do anything when you're not there. It's a little too slavish for me. But like for instance, I don't get to work from home. I'd love to, but you know, I'd love to work from home and wear whatever the hell I wanted to, and have the temperature in my workplace at whatever the hell I wanted it to be. So so yeah, I've left the World War II scene for like 20 years, and in that 20 years, lots of stuff has happened. I'm not talking about history stuff, which a lot of that has happened as well. Access to stuff that we didn't really have access to before, but more of the two companies that I used to like doing business with both went out of business. And people that were running those industries, passed away and their companies folded. And like, wow, I just left for just a few minutes. It has been 20 years, 16 years. I guess 16 years more accurate, or 17 years. I don't know. Guess most of this hobby stuff's kind of a cottage industry, so one guy is kind of a mover and shaker. Something happens to him, and those molds don't get redone. Company I was talking about in particular is a vehicle manufacturer called MMS. I have several of their stuff to build. They're really high quality, but they're really finicky. And I don't know how I got the vehicles that I had. I think they were like on super sale at Brookhurst or whatever. I mean, shit, I probably got these in the late '90s. And yeah, I just looked at their site the other day, and it's not even active. The owner, I guess, passed away in 2019 and or 2020, something like that. So I guess I have collector's items. So I think every one of those that I have is a German thing. So we get around to doing the Germans, the bloody Germans. We'll pull some of that stuff up and finish them and try to do justice. And decided to do the Germans last on purpose. Everybody does lots of German stuff, and that way I can put off the what color am I going to make this vehicle scenario out longer until I have more vehicles done. I want to keep my momentum going, so I'm going to do the Soviet vehicles. Well, they're almost done. I've got. I don't know what I'm going to do with the T-34s. I got that issue with the track, but we may end up punting on that. But we got that ISU to finish up, and I think that's it. And Americans, I've got 3 or 4 Shermans and 3 half tracks, and I think a 3/4 ton truck. And then everything else I got is Germans. So I'm looking forward to painting this olive drab on the American vehicles and make them look interesting because honestly, I find American vehicles extremely boring, but that's okay. You always wonder what happened to the old molds. So many great companies gone and lost. Yeah, I guess. So the molds that are made by Lurkio in 15 millimeter, I guess they've been in cahoots, and I don't really know what the story is. I'm just looking at it from the outside. But Lurkio, I believe, which is tied in somehow to the guy who does Mortem et Gloriam. This is just what I've been able to find out just from doing my surfing. So Lurkio Miniatures made a lot of figures, and then they also brought back the molds for some of the molds for some of the lines for the Spanish guys, the Spanish company that everybody likes except me. Corvus Belli. I'm not a fan of Corvus Belli. I don't like their style. I've got some of their figures, so I'll paint them up. But anyhow, they brought some of the Corvus Belli back, but I think they got into cahoots with the Plastic Soldier Company, and a lot of this stuff is released in plastic. So I don't know exactly how that worked because they're exactly the same molds, and it's totally different type of manufacturing difference between them. So I don't know whether they made injection molds out of them. I don't really know how it works, but that's kind of interesting. I'm not a fan of plastic things, but I'm a big I'm a fan of the consumer having options. So the more options you have as a consumer, the better it is. But I know I'm not sure if all of their stuff that Lurkio makes is, but they have some things like the I think they're Sassanids and they're Goths or something like that. You could get them in injection molded plastic, and the Corvus Belli figures are now that are in injection molded as well. I suspect that the injection molded may last longer. I'm not. Nah, I'm not really in the know. I'm just a stupid painter. I just do paint by numbers here, and I surf the web for figures. So anyhow, if one of you guys knows, and you can enlighten me, but yeah, I know that the Corvus Belli figures are in high demand. Lots of people like them. For me, they have a problem that two figure manufacturers that I don't care for a whole lot have. Okay. And I do have some of their figures. So when I get around to doing, say, 100 Years War French, you'll see some of them because I like mixing and matching everybody's stuff. But they're figures that have a bare head. So in other words, the one that show the face, they have big cheekbones like FAA, which I don't care for at all. And they have some poses like some of the Essex figures, like they're throwing in really unnatural, they're wooden and unnatural type poses. For me, I don't care for them, but that's it. I'd still paint them. I mean, they'd be okay. Old Glory, as much as I like Old Glory has some guys in stupid poses as well. So I'm not afraid of mixing and matching different manufacturers, but bringing molds back, absolutely. It's good for the consumer. So just because I don't like something doesn't mean you're not allowed to like it. I've painted some dog figures in the last 10 years and they turn out okay. It's actually, I find it really challenging to find figures that I don't like and then make them look. I mean, that's what I should do. I should paint some of my Corvus Belly figures next. No, I have some of their 100 Years War stuff. They look okay, but they still have some of their longbowmen and stuff. They just have really big cheekbones, like FAA, like the 20 millimeter figures from FAA. I don't really like that look. Can't say I'm a fan of Corvus Belly. Well, just you and me then. I'll paint everybody. I'll paint anybody's figures. I'll be honest with you. I'll, it's kind of cool painting figures that you don't think are very good. They actually are very good figures. I just don't like their poses. I don't like some of their poses. Just about everybody makes figures that are worth doing. But I've got a pack of I like Old Glory, and I've got some Imperial Romans. And one of the sculptors, I'm guessing it's two different sculptors. I could be wrong. That does Old Glory in 15 millimeter. One of them he likes putting eyes on his figures, and they give them a very. Some of his figures have the cheekbone and have bug eyes, and they just look weird. And some of the Romans are that way, and I've thought about I'm never going to build those guys and just get the ones from Forged in Battle, which I think look really good. But it's a style thing. Some people, I'm sure, probably like it. And I don't like to have to paint eyes on 15 millimeter figures. Doesn't mean I can't do it. I just my preference is not to do it. So, but yeah, if molds shouldn't go out of production. Somebody should have them. That's a lot of work somebody did to create these beautiful things, and then they're not available anymore. And the other thing is the figure manufacturer will come out and all they do is they make things for a period that you're not particularly interested in. So I know Corvus Belli did Carthaginians, ancient Spanish, Gauls, Britons, but then the Romans they did, I think they made impy Romans. In other words, I don't think they did Polybian Romans. So you can't get the right Romans to fight the Carthaginians. I could be wrong. I'm going off memory, and they've been out of production for maybe 5 or 6 years now. And I'm not sure why they put them out of production. They were pretty popular, but there's things that go behind the scenes that us mere mortals don't find out about, and that's just fine. That's And then of course they did the 100 Years War stuff. Not really a fan of either one of those two things, but the 100 Year War stuff because I've seen so many people with those armies, so there's no need for me to do those armies as well. They're fairly popular, and the ancient stuff, Numidians, they make Numidians as well. Those curly-haired bastards, my nemesis. Well, I mentioned it, in one of the videos. I said, what's the army you want to face the least? And I said Numidians. I'm not facing them in an open setting. I'm facing them in battles that they would have a good fight to win, whether it's a Wimp Wars or against some of their enemies or something like that. It's not like, I mean, I want to put an end to the Numidians. I'll show up my Hungarians and just shoot the living shit out of them, and they're game over. But you don't want to see that on video. You want to see things where you have a close to a 50-50 chance of a good matchup. So in that case, yeah, the Numidians kick my ass. I don't do well against them in a 50-50 type setting. So had figures that thought looked like trash, but once you paint them and they're fighting for you, you love them however ugly they are. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Almost all figures paint up well. You can get them to paint up well. And it's really satisfying to put figures out there that nobody gave them a second look. And especially when somebody goes, "Oh, I thought those figures were trash. But now that you painted it up, they look pretty good. I'm going to look into getting some myself." Perfect. That's that's satisfying. And it's not satisfying from the standpoint that I got manufacturers sending me figures wanting me to paint them for them so they'll buy more. I'm not interested in that. I mean, I've got plenty of figures. It's just nice to give everybody the exposure, you know? Like Zyston. Nobody needs to paint any more figures for Zyston. Zyston figures are awesome. They paint themselves. There's nothing wrong with them. So, okay, I think that's as core color up as we're going to go. Let's start adding a little bit of white and making this look more wooden-like. And show you guys what we got here. You like Mike's models in the day? Yeah, Mike's models actually have really good detail. They're just very dwarf-like, and that's okay. You know, I've painted some up, and they do okay for me. Speaking of which, since you're still awake, and you talked about Islamic Indian, I believe I've got. Nah, I put them away. I started working on that army, and I was using some of the Mike's models, Renaissance figures for them, and I got a light horse guy done for them that I painted, I don't know, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. They're kind of funky looking. They have their own look to them, and that's all right. All right. Oh, what I was going to say, I was going to see where we're at. I don't want it to be too bright. I want it to be, you know, worn looking. Let's come over here and bring some of this. We'll see if this is too bright or not. We're just going to do some minor highlighting on here. Yeah, I don't know yet. Let's do one of these things here. Let's do one of these boards and see what we can do. I think this would be okay. Let's do one side and we'll show you the difference between one side and the other. I want it to look like the wood has been dried. You know, so I don't want it to have a very full color of this. Not that makes any sense, but now we're gonna get tricky trying to get in behind this wheel. But the thing is you can't see it really well either, so it's nothing to worry about. And let's do the top. All right. It's not even noticeable in this light. Anyhow, trust me. I may have done it a little too subtly. We'll see. I enjoyed a crude 70s, 80s soldier as well. I had him here somewhere, actually. I had that figure, and I think I packed him away to the Indians. So that is an army on my list. I don't think I do well with them though. They just I don't do well with armies that have very few heavy foot. And they don't have a lot of heavy foot. They might have only one stand of fast blade, and that's it. The rest of it's just bows, and at least in DBA, they've got 4 or 5, maybe even 6 cavalry, 2 to 3 light horse, an elephant, a couple bows, and a fast blade, maybe a Saloy. I think that's what their army list is, something like that. You like a crude 70s, 80s soldier. So a soldier from the 70s or 80s, or a soldier in their 70s or 80s? Some guy with a potty mouth that was a veteran in their pot with a potty mouth. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We're gonna need more of this stuff, not less. There we go. I have a ton of those Mike's Models Renaissance Indians. I mean, like a ton. The worst thing about those old figures is not what they look like. It's not the fact that they don't have pose variety. It's that the metal they're made out of is really, really soft. So you pretty much have to replace all of the lances and stuff like that. Or I'm going to, anyways, because I don't want to spend all this trouble painting them and then, oh, the lance broke off. So those Indian armies are beautiful. The food's not bad either. Don't really have a good Indian food restaurant here in town. I'm gonna just have the wife make that. It would draw dozens of wobbly spears a while back. It wasn't fun. Also, don't enjoy a molded on flag. I don't either. I don't either. Although sometimes minifigs make some pretty good looking ones, but the problem is they're molded on and they're also a very soft metal. So you're going to spend all that time painting it, and then after a couple of uses, the thing's going to break off, and you're going to be upset about it. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to take a little bathroom break, and we'll be back shortly, and we'll pick up where we left off. This is going well so far. We'll be right back. Okay. I have. I was thinking. I don't usually keep these things and really don't do anything with them. The books from like Historicon or whatever. I never read these things while I'm there. I'm too busy doing stuff. But they have a map here of the vendors, and I remember. Huh. There's an ad here for a company I used to do business with. They used to be a vendor at Historicon called The Last Square. And they used to carry Roundway. And I thought they were out of business. Maybe they just don't carry that stuff anymore. Okay. Um, yeah, so I remember there's one particular vendor that I wanted to see that carried a bunch of stuff. Let's see if I can remember. Main entrance. That had a bunch of stuff. I'll have to check out that later. They had a bunch of stuff from Army Group Center Wargaming. Is that who it is? Army Group Center Wargaming. They had a bunch of stuff from Plastic Soldier Company. Oh, here it is. The largest dealer in the United States for 1/72nd scale plastic figures, new releases, as well as vintage. And here's his website. Okay. I am interested in getting more 1/72nd scale vehicles, but not until I finish painting what I have. But any new ones I get, we will not be doing any separate link track. I want the tracks to all be one piece. I ain't got time for that. Sounded like a Sherman just rolled by. It must be one of those big Yankee trucks. Not in the South, it's not a Yankee truck. Watch your mouth. So, I live in a subdivision. My backyard is a retention pond. And on the other side of that, there's a road. I wouldn't call it a major road. It's a two-lane road that is a north-south connector. And yeah, occasionally there's construction vehicles that'll go on it, and it's probably heard one of those. Yankee truck. Like there's no big trucks in Germany. Come on. Yeah, it's probably some dump truck. That's what I get to see every day is truck drivers at my job. So I don't want to see any construction truck drivers. I don't want to see any of those guys on my day off. I had enough of those folks. And it's early. It's 7:30 on a Saturday, so I've woken up in the morning and hear the hooting of an owl. Will be the happy little owl that's hanging out in one of the trees in the back. And I've never gotten a look at him. I'd love to see what he looks like, what kind of owl he is, but they're elusive. Got several hawks that go around in the neighborhood, so it's suburbia, but we have trees and stuff, so the land of suburbia. I assumed it was one of those big family Hummer type things. No, that's probably, if it was loud, it was probably a construction vehicle. It's probably the tailgate on it more than anything else, banging back and forth as it's going down the road, more making the noise more than anything else. Hummers, nobody has a Hummer. They're really rare. Nobody can afford that kind of gas. Even as now's the now's the time that hopefully you have a four-cylinder because gas is going to go up. So it's what's it running at? About 260 a gallon. So still a lot cheaper than Europe, but Oh yeah, look at the inside here. Yeah, baby. Ah, focus, damn it. I know some of that won't even be noticeable, but I know it's there. I know it's there. This is the opposite of stressful, by the way. This just takes a long time, but perhaps it was a Hungarian war wagon. I am sure that we're going to encounter some weird things on film when these guys go into combat because there's weird things that happen when you start using some of these odd elements, even something as mundane as elephants that create situations that you don't normally encounter in most games. So just having a couple of war wagons, I'm sure we're going to encounter that kind of stuff. But I did not want the horses on the stand. I wanted these guys to be on a square stand, and this is going to be the front. Thank you. For my next stunt, this is going to be the front of it. So the front's going to be here, and the guys are going to be lined up shooting out. So as it moves forward with a line, like say it was part of the line, it's going to move forward like this. Because the alternative is you put it like this, and then this is the front, but then you've got to arrange it so that the figure, not everybody can shoot out of it's just weird. I think it's going to be a lot easier to discern that the front is this way, which is it's just a playing piece, you know. I mean, it can shoot out of every end, but I've decided that the front's going to be like this. The shield's going to be showing on it as well, which I'm going to go ahead and do all the wood, and then I'll go back and do the emblem. That part I look forward to. I like doing I like heraldry and all that stuff. Maybe I wouldn't be a fan if I didn't have any heraldry myself, but or maybe if my heraldry was dumb, like somebody bent over with a horn blown out of his ass or something like that. I looked Mitch's name up in his heraldry. It was like a potted plant. I said, "There's your problem. You guys were growing the green stuff back in the day." When they were picking out heraldry, you guys get the last pick. Oh man. Do the Hungarians even have a car industry? I don't know. It's going to take a while, but we knew this. could do a much quicker job, but I'll leave that to you guys. I had a guy that worked for me that was from Hungary. This was, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. I don't remember. He's about 20 years ago. Yeah. I think I hadn't gotten married yet. And he was a soldier. And the Hungarian forces, back when they were the bad guys, Hungary's not part of NATO, are they? I'm not sure where they are now. They might be in between. I'm not sure. I don't war game modern stuff, so I'm kind of out of the know. But he was uh, he was a soldier when it was a Soviet bloc state. So I always gave him a hard time about that. But he was kind of an asshole, anyways. Not because he was Hungarian, just him. He was a little dude. So, you know, there you have it. That's the reason why. He's a skinny little dude. He's a truck driver. He had this really heavy accent. He just had a really bad way of dealing with people. Like, if you need somebody to help you out, you can't be an asshole and then wonder why people aren't going to help you out. Telling me he'd go to job sites and they needed somebody to help offload him, and he would go like, "Hey, you motherfuckers, come over here and help me." It's not gonna get a whole lot of things done that way. Nobody's gonna come help you out if you show up guns a blazing. Yeah, look at that. Nice, nice. Anyways, I really like the idea of that plastic soldier company stuff because you don't have to you don't have to paint any of the build any of the running gear, and we give you lots of different variants in each one. But I got so many things to do that I either have to get rid of them, which seems stupid. Nobody's going to want to buy them, or just paint them up and move on. So that's kind of what I did with these old BP casts. I was not impressed with them at all. I'm like, I'm gonna have to. These guys are so, and I gotta. I keep saying I gotta take pictures of them outside. I really do, because the lighting just isn't here what it should be. But If I don't like how they look, I'm just gonna end up using them as burnt up wrecks. But they turned out okay. I wouldn't buy them again, but I already had them, so. War Wagon is looking brilliant and much better than your Hungarian accent impression. Well, remember, it's a Hungarian guy that is trying to speak English, and yeah, he had a bad accent. Well, it's not like I can practice watching any Hungarian TV shows, which there are none of. Yeah, he was something else. Hey, you motherfucker, come help me. He had kind of a something like that. Hey, I promise you, I do a better Hungarian accent than he does an English accent. Oh man, good times, good times, good stuff. That's actually one of my appeals for playing DBA. Is all the different countries, so I get to do all kinds of funny accents and things. That's a big appeal to me. I've always enjoyed doing that, whether I do them well or not. Just the idea of it is a big appeal. That's why I don't like playing Americans. I don't get to do that, you know. So I don't like playing Americans. Actually, think of it a little bit of role. I think of it as a little bit of role play, you know. So all right. So you got this side kind of done. Let's do this side here with a wagon. Let's prop this on something. Yeah, this might take a while, but you know what? When I'm done, I don't have to do it again. Yeah, what I really would like to paint right now is some of my German vehicles in Panzer Gray, but I'm just gonna have to wait on that. Be focused. Don't go in all kinds of different directions. You know, I got all kinds of stuff. It's exciting to paint these things up that I've had for decades and never done anything with them. The stuff that I overbought. So we've all done that. I try to not do that anymore. It's very unsatisfying to buy things and then not do anything with it. It's the same as your Chinese accent. Well, I have to kind of keep my voice low too. There's people sleeping in here, but He kind of did have, it was a little Asianish, which doesn't make any sense. Well, Hungarians do come from Asia, right? From the Huns. So there's that tie-in, right? The guy who does a great Chinese accent is one Canadian comedian. Well, he's from Canada, but he's actually from India. His family's from India. His name is Russell Peters. You may have heard him before. Some of his comedy routine is decent. He's a little too dirty. Not that it offends me, but I prefer ethnic jokes. That's what I kind of grew up with more than dirty, crude jokes. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's um, that's what I prefer. But he does a really good Indian. I mean, a really good, of course, obviously does a very good Indian, but he does a really good Asian voices that are just hilarious. The meter on the way he speaks is just really, really funny. Yeah. Yeah, you can't do those now. Red China might get upset. I'm getting to the point where anything that upsets the Chinese is what I'm going to do more. And I don't mean the Chinese. I mean those damn communist bastards. I'm like, oh, you don't like this? Okay, that's what we're going to do from now on. I found something the other day that was actually made in Germany because when I'm buying stuff for my hobby, I'm going out of my way to like these are I think the last Chinese brushes I'm going to buy. I'm gonna I'm gonna pay more and just get stuff that comes from. I'm gonna do my part. We'll buy things from other countries. It doesn't have to be the United States. It could be the Philippines. Countries that are not oppressive. So I'm going to do my part. I've kind of at my wits end about that. But I came across something that was made in Germany that surprised me. It's very unusual to find things made. I'm sure you guys make all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't make it here. But the only thing I can think of right off the bat that I know is made in Germany that we use is this stuff called, man, I don't even remember what they're called. It looks like this, and it's these. They're made by Mr. Clean, I think is what it is, and they're these like foam pads that you put water on them, and they kind of deteriorate, but they'll clean anything. And I don't. They have a specific name for them, and I know. As a matter of fact, those come from Germany, but you guys need to up your game and make more German products and export them more. And same thing for us. You know, it's rare to find things that are made in European countries that make it here. You know, this thing I think is French, which is like unusual. Oh, I know what's French. My this stuff. This stuff comes from France, right? Let's see. Distributed in Europe. Oh, this one's made in England. What? Hold on. Oh, this is the natural sand one. I think the resin one's French. Don't make me eat my words. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this one's made in France. I guess the grid is too thin for made in. That's how strange. Yeah, this one's made in England. This one's made in France. No, it's unusual to find things made in those places. So we need to all up our game and make our own stuff. So I was looking for something the other day. It was a cover for something that what we call a fire pit, which is basically like a it's a propane it's a propane fueled like a heating thing that we have outside when cold weather. All both days of the year that we have cold weather here, and it has a little cover to kind of protect it from leaves and stuff getting in there. It's small. It's 30 inches by 30 inches, or 900 millimeters by 900 millimeters, or 850 by 850, or whatever. It's not very big, but it has a little nylon cover that went bad because it's out in the elements. So I spent about an hour and a half on Amazon trying to look for a cover that was not made in China, and I was unsuccessful. And I tried looking for other places that wasn't on Amazon. They just stuff just isn't made. Some things just aren't made in some parts of the world anymore, ever. So that's unfortunate. I got excited. I found something the other day. I want to say it was something I came across at work, and it was made in Taiwan. I'm like, okay, moving in the right direction. Brilliant lad. He has a show on Netflix. He does a thing where he on one of his stand-ups, he does this thing where the premise is that he talks about the different accents and how there's like a hierarchy of the different cultures in Asia, and it's hilarious. But that's what I like. That's the humor that I like. I like that we all can laugh about our own nationalities, and nothing, none of it's personal, but it's funny. That's what I grew up with. I guess I'm just not very woke. Perfect. Every toy soldier thing seems to come from England. They do, but they've messed up the delivery times now. Yeah, I don't. Okay, I'm really on the outside of the whole Brexit thing, but I suspect that what it is that I could be totally wrong, but it almost seems like because they broke away, it gave their own government a chance to reevaluate what they were charging the people and like clamp down on it. For example, for the longest time here in the US, every state has sales tax. But if you mail ordered something, you didn't pay sales tax on it, or maybe you were supposed to, but nobody did. Okay, they already tax our income, so we don't need to pay taxes on the stuff we buy too. Sorry, I'm very libertarian when it comes about taxes, but anyhow, they kind of changed that in the last, I'd say, 5 years, where you have to it's already built into your state income, but it's almost kind of like maybe that's what happened. It was almost like they were all this stuff was changing hands, and the government wasn't getting their hands on their cut, and it got reevaluated. It was almost kind of like before, it was kind of under the carpet. That's what it seems like you know. But the last time I ordered, I've said this before, I get better service from UK companies than American companies. Like, I'd order from Museum Miniatures on a Monday. The following Monday, I'd already have my order. They want to get your product out to you. But now they've tacked on, seems like a couple weeks, and it's not their fault. It's just it's sat at the last time I ordered something, it sat at Heathrow for like a week, just trying to get through customs. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but hopefully they get that all straightened out, because I know Europe is prohibitively expensive for for us, and has been, like those beautiful figures from Italy, Legio Heroica. I can't order them, or ordering directly from Merlaton. They're catastrophically expensive. So, and not the exchange rate, just the tack on with the taxes. Because I get the exchange rate, okay. So we got to pay 25% more or whatever. Okay, whatever. But then on top of that, it's like there's the other taxes and things like that to it. So And I don't think it's, I suspect that if you guys order something from the United States in Europe, if it's really expensive, it's not because we tack the money on. It's because your government decided to tack that on at the very end. So just like when we get it, we're paying extra for that stuff. You know, we're paying for your parks and stuff out there. Hey, I'm not a fan of giving them government money. They don't know how to write it. They don't know how to balance a checkbook. You know, it's like if you have a kid, right? And if you have a kid and they have an allowance or they ask for $20 or something like that, and they do a really shitty job of spending it, why should I give them more money? You know, there's lots of US figures I would buy, but postage, etc. Yeah. Yeah, well, most of the stuff's in England. I don't know why they don't make that stuff in Germany. I don't know any German figure companies. It's not like you guys don't make technical stuff, you know? I mean, they make stuff in Russia. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that for a while you guys weren't doing real wargaming, but I guess it's kind of come back a little bit, so. I think playing war games keeps you from being, you know, like I said, I'm a devout pacifist every day, so I want to be a totalitarian on the war game table. It's a way of role play, you know. I like to play games that have a violent theme, but yet I don't watch horror movies. So, all right, let's do the floor here, a little bit of that. Yeah, luckily I could probably get away with not buying any actual miniatures anymore and be perfectly fine. Have plenty of stuff to work on. I overbought early and I overbought things that I like. So, you know, I left the World War II scene for 20 years or so. And just before I left, there was a company that I used to buy a lot of their 20 millimeter figures from because that's the scale that I do my World War II skirmish in. There's a company called, used to be called Drew's Militia, and they got changed to Battlefield. And they had just released a Stalingrad range of Germans and Russians. And I already had Germans and Russians, but these in particular were very, had a lot of character and personality. I never did anything with them because I just, at that point, I think like the year later, I discovered DBA. So the way I do my skirmish gaming is every one of the, it's almost like a role playing game. Each character has a personality, so I don't want to use the same poses. I want everybody to have a different pose, and and it works really well for those figures because every one of them was different and it had a lot of figure variety. And you know, so I'll go and something gets released, and I would buy one of every pack. I don't want two of a certain figure. I would want one pack of everything. So I've got probably a platoon of Germans from just from that figure line for that stuff. That whenever I get back into painting them, I can't wait to paint those guys. But I found out they're out of print. The molds went bad. I mean, it's been 20 years since they cast them, so I I have kind of a collector's item, you know. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. But I'm not going to collect them and resell them. I want to actually paint the guys, but my goal for 2021 is to get into playing the World War II skirmish again. I need to work on it on my own, so when I bring it to the boys, it'll run smooth. But we'll see if that happens. Right now, I'm just kind of enjoying the painting them off and on. Time for bed. Good night, Dirk. Enjoy tomorrow, which is there, and well, it's already tomorrow there. Sorry, you said it was like after midnight. This thing's almost done. It takes a while, but it's all right. Well, almost done except the shield. I think we're going to do the shields last. The crests last. I came across some brushes on Amazon that were made in Germany. They weren't Winsor and Newton. They were a competitor to them, and so they were also less expensive. So I may give them a shot when I need to get more brushes. But I believe they were Sable ones as well. So the problem with brushes is I'm so used to going up to the pack and actually picking which pack I want because it's an imperfect science. Some of them are made better than others. Some of them have better points. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that one of my Liquitexes is made in Britain and one of them was made in France. Learn something new every day. We're going to make these wheels totally wooden. I'm not going to put any metal on the rims or anything like that. Otherwise, you'd hear them when they come up and down my street, I don't want that. Wake up all the neighbors. A Yankee truck. I like it. So one of these two wagons is going to have the Hungarian emblem that has the three hills with the double cross. And then the other one is probably going to have a lion or something like that on it. Maybe I'll do the crow, that Corvus crow. Although I don't really want to do that because if I end up making this Janos Hunyadi's army, he didn't have that crow motif yet. Let's come over here. All right. I changed my mind. We're going to finish one war wagon completely before we mess with the other one. I know, that's what you guys wanted to hear anyways. Not that you care. I am going to, this is the back side, right? Yeah, because this is the little door that fits on it here. And then what happens is when it's open, and I'm going to leave it open, the one side fits in like this as a little step. And it may not fit in there. I may have to trim it down. That's okay. We better figure that out before we go and do all the other stuff on here. Let's see. What is your most favorite 15 millimeter miniatures? You mean manufacturer? I don't know that I have one. And there's some that I've never painted that look really good. I've never painted Coruscant. I've never painted Legio Heroica, which I think would probably be one of my favorite ones. I've actually never painted Merlaton. I have them, I just haven't gotten around to painting them. I haven't painted, Forged in Battle. Those look really good, but they showed up 10 years too late. You know, I'd already overbought so much stuff. So of all the ones I've painted, I really like those, the Eureka guys, my Nan Chow. I really like those. Are really pleasure to paint, but I don't know that I have a preference. My favorite figures to paint that most people don't give them a second look is probably minifigs. Minifigs are like, they're minifigs, most people, and I like them. I think they have a very classic look, and I like the look that they have. So, are they my favorite figures? Probably not, but I'm probably their biggest fanboy. And I'm talking about in 15s. And I'm not talking about the script minifigs. I mean the ones I believe they're from the 90s. Something like that. I like them a lot. I like the look that they have. What else do I have? I don't know. Everybody makes good figures. Just about everybody. I guess that's a good thing, not having a favorite. At least in 15s and other scales, I definitely have preferences. My favorite figures of all time, period, end of story. You guys should know this. I bring them up enough times. Are these guys right here. Combat miniatures in 20 millimeter. Well, not doing it justice. I'll take other pictures of them. But that's definitely my favorite sculptor. Dave Alsop. Now, how is that doesn't fit on here? Well, we may just have to trim this. So that, yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Well, might as well do it now. Those are my favorite figures, period. That's why I got into 20 millimeter. Because of his casting. I want to know. trip to a hobby store in Tampa, and they had those figures, and I'm like, oh, I'm digging this. I like these guys. And the rest is history. And you know, at the time, in the early 90s, you could get any vehicle in 1/72nd scale. Still can, even more, you know, well, now they have other options, you know. So that was definitely the scale to go to for that. And that's definitely my favorite figure manufacturer. My favorite sculptor, because he did some stuff for Old Glory as well, and his stuff is, I love his style. Yeah, I have quite a few things by quite a few manufacturers in 20mm scale that I've never painted up. I got some of the old War Games Foundry tank crews. I have them. I haven't painted them up. Hopefully they'll get a chance to get some of that done. Geez, it's being difficult. You love minifigs, they're elegant. They paint up really well. Even though some things are weird, like they've got javelins that are 12 feet long and things like that, but whatever. Every company has issues. Every sculptor has issues. So without a doubt, that is my favorite sculptor. You know, there may be some other sculptors that I really like, but I don't do 28s. So, you know, that doesn't really count. Here we go. That's all it took. Let's do a little bit more, and then we should be good. I'm so out of habit of using a file. It leaves just all that stuff everywhere anyway, so. Okay, perfect. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some of this material that everybody uses except me. I'm trying to get used to using it, but. Taffy Tacky is what this stuff should be called. Because that's what it reminds me of. Do you have another? I do. Perfect. Yay. Maybe it's too big. Cut this thing in half. Could just super glue it on the back. One more shot, and then the go super glue route. This stuff's old too, so that may be part of the problem. Okay, should be good there. Let's paint it black. Cue the Rolling Stones music. Okay. We're just going to use regular Vallejo black paint for this. Why it's here, that's why. Ah! Should do painting videos. That'll be my soundtrack, to paint it black. Nah, you use real music on YouTube and you get into all kinds of problems. You know, not interested in problems with my hobby. This is a problem remover. Okay. Is it almost time for more coffee? I believe it is. We'll be right back. Okay. So we have a little door drying there. Let's go ahead and start working on the assembling. We need a little bit more. Oh, we did put more black there. Good, perfect. All right, let's grab I thought I had it somewhere on something. Okay. Let's boot up the old computer up. Yeah, we're gonna put it right there in the middle. Oh, you know what? While that's happening, I need to go ahead and get this metallic and do the little hinges. It's good to have all that stuff done, and then you get a good glimpse of what it's gonna look like. Let's go over here to metallic corner. Okay. Lighting's off. Starting to get to the part of the morning where I got a transom window and the natural light comes in here and kind of messes with source from two different directions. Da, 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 da. You paint for consistent long periods, Tony. Do you ever get fed up of painting and take a break from it? What gets tired is my butt. But usually I'm always drinking something while I'm having it, so it forces me to have to go to the bathroom about at least once an hour. No, this is really easy on, it's easy on my eyes, it's easy on, oh, that's a beautiful picture on the computer. Look at this. It came up. Look at that. Oh, that's really nice. Like what you see? Yeah, I like what I see. It's Summer Mountain, Carpathian, Ukraine. Oh, I like it. Nice. See, can I do a print screen of that and save that? No, not on that screen. That's beautiful. The color thing there. I should paint that. Yeah, I should. That's probably the latest thing I've worked on in the last 5 years, certainly, is I painted the backdrops for some of my figures, and I talked about doing it for so long and finally got around to doing it, and it was so easy. And I could do a much better job than I did, but I mean, I've never painted stuff on a two-dimensional surface before. But oh, now I'm going to get all these damn notifications. Let's go to Amazon. I believe I have that book saved there. I'm going to go to the cart. Hungarian military flags, Army of King Hunyadi. Okay, here it is. Did this go up in price like something crazy? No. Okay. Let's see. There's a war wagon in here somewhere. Yeah, here they are. Okay, we'll do one of them with the little stripes, the little horizontal stripes. Got it. That's what we'll do. We'll put that right in the middle. All right. No, what I would do is I would get tired if I wasn't filming. I'd find excuses to check something on the internet and stuff like that. So the fact that I'm doing this keeps me on track really well. So maybe it's helping you guys as well. Have something in the background while you guys get to do some painting. Okay. Let's find a thin tip brush. Let's get a little bit more of this thinner. And I'm going to do the part that I really enjoy painting that many people hate. That's heraldry. I love doing heraldry. And all right. We got to do a little black shield on there anyways. So let's see if we can, that way you guys can see me screw up together. It's blocking my light. We should be all right like that. All right, let's take some of this. Let's find us a spot. It's clear of other things. All right, we want this thing in the middle of where this hinge is, even if it's not necessarily in the middle of this war wagon. We're in the middle of this hinge. All right, and we want it at least that big. top to bottom. Let's do the sides. And of course, it's going to be flat against the top, and the bottom's going to curve. It makes sense. Ended on that board and ended on, it started on that board and ended on that one. Okay, so now we're going to fill that in with black. Thin, doesn't have to be very thick, just to kind of give us a starting point of what we're going to do. Okay. See how it's not centered necessarily between the tires, but it's centered on that hinge, which is more important. To me, anyways. All right. Which one are we doing? Let's do the traditional Hungarian symbol. Let me find one. Okay. So that's a red background. All right. So let's go ahead and continue with this. Let's get us some red. Let's rinse this out. That's the part I like. Freaks other people out. Just good old flat red. And let's go over here. Overkill. You always waste more than you ever use. All right, so let's get some black over here. We'll work here. How about that? Okay, this is the black, the red I just put down, because this is a different red. It's a little bit more orangey. All right, so we're going to paint the whole thing, leaving a little black rim with this color here. And if there's any time where you might want to straighten out how something is because you think, well, it didn't come out really even, this is the time to do it, like I'm going to do right now. The things would be a little bit more black here. Just straighten this out. Okay, so it's really, really dark. All right, now, and now we've got the three little hills. So let's get all the pieces parts there, and then we'll lighten them up as we need to. Let's grab us a green. This one right here. Part green. And of course we're gonna get some, oh, I should just come over here. It's 3 hills what it's supposed to represent. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and drop the cross in there as well. For that we need white. White, as I like to say. I don't know where I picked that up. It's my thing now, though. All right. So that's going to be when you're doing something like this, you need to make sure that your pacing is all in the spacing is correct before you go hog wild, and the next thing you know, you're not happy with how something turned out. Okay? So I think for something so far, that is okay. Now, we will do, let's go ahead and bring the cross all the way up to where it needs to be. So add a little bit more white to that. Yankee truck. Ah, man. You funny guy. Okay, we'll taper the ends off in a little bit. Okay, let's We're going to lighten this green, not with white. We're going to lighten it with, maybe you could use it with white. And just fade it in the sun some. I personally need to find a place when I'm painting stuff like this. Well, when I'm painting everything, that my wrist is relaxed on here. I can't paint in midair. That's sadistic. I can't do that. I see a lot of people in painting videos that they do that, and I'm not able to do that. Paint unsupported. Okay. And then we're going to give it a little bit of highlighting on that, but let's bring the red up to where it needs to be. And then we are going to pull some of this yellow. Okay. Let's bring this red where it needs to be. And I may end up scuffing some of the wood up on the tires on the wheels. It's not a big deal. Getting there. Let's go to this pure color right here. And we're going to use the yellow for the green. I don't think we're going to use the yellow for this red. We're going to use a tiny little bit of white. May have used too much. Maybe not. This stuff's going to fade like something else on here. Let's go over here. Let's bring a little bit of yellow in. Do little mountains. And let's lighten that up a tiny little bit. I like it. I know. You guys want to see. Hold on. Let me get this black around the edge. Let's make that pop a little bit more. And I'm not going to taper the edges of the cross. Kind of actually looks kind of weird sometimes when it happens. All right, so we'll clean that up some with the wood. Let's move this out of the way so it doesn't accidentally fall on here. Now, it's going to look more washed out than it really does because of the glare of this thing, but pretty easy to do, I think. So, and of course, this will be towards the front of the army. So as we move forward, it'll be facing. And I don't want to overkill it with putting a bunch of different emblems on here. I could put an emblem back here and emblem there. You know, I got other armies to paint. You know, these guys are just mercenaries. They had their own, wagon, and I said, "Well, want to join your army? Well, you better put some kind of recognition on it so we don't blow you away." But yeah, well, that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Easy to do. Easy to do. And I think it'll look pretty good with the rest of the army. You guys want to see? Let's see what we got here. Get these guys up. Again, this looks going to look really washed out in this light. Yeah, I like it. Sometimes you're your own hardest person to please. So this is that. We've got this little step thing to do. We might as well do that. And when you add the flat coat on it, I don't know what it is about the flat coat. It looks so much better. It ties all the colors to. I don't know. It's magic. Movie magic. These Wagons finally say Hussite to me. Well, they are Hussites. They're just, they're out of employ. So, yeah. Got 2 Germans commenting on Hussites. You guys ought to know. The first Protestants, right? Okay. Where the frick is it? Oh, right here. All right. I had it over here. Aha. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint everybody on. I'm going to paint all the crews first, and then we'll pick on who's on what team on which war wagon afterwards. That saves a lot of time, actually, doing it that way. That stuff's fun to do. That's one of my favorite things to do is to paint shield devices, heraldry, that kind of stuff. That's what I like. Making things look like they're out of wood, but they're really not. It just takes a while. Oh, I could just paint it and use a series of washes, I guess, but it's not the same. I need the black in between the pieces of wood to stand out more for my liking. Yeah. Yeah. You saw how easy it is. Now you guys hop to it and do that. Your favorite things to paint are most people's worst. Wood heraldry shields. Well, I like to paint things that I can put my own spin on them. Okay? So, like, I hate cleaning figures, the flash. The manufacturer should have done that. I hate priming figures. Anybody can do that. Okay? The stuff that anyone can do, I'm like, why are you calling me to do that? Horses. I love painting horses. I'd rather paint them than clean up after them. Faces. I love doing faces because it brings a figure to life. And there's people that do all that stuff better than me. I'm just saying that, I that's the stuff I enjoy doing. There's always somebody that's going to do a better job than you are. I don't get bummed out by that. I find it actually invigorating because it's just a trick, you know. That's why I don't mind showing you guys what I do. It's like it's just a trick, folks. You just have to, you know, you do it and then you realize when how long the process is going to take, and experiences realizing when things are going sideways and when to stop and go in a different direction, because you're not going to get the end result that you're going to be happy with. And you're not going to know that until you've done it several times. I think it's this way, honestly. We need a little bit more. Oof. Especially if there's one place that's going to be faded, it's the place where all these little bastards walk on. So we're going to bring this up more. Yeah, I know people don't like doing shields. I can't imagine building a medieval army that's generic. So, in other words, one that would use for feudal English or the Germans or the French. No, I want a German-looking army with the German heraldry. I mean, obviously, there's still some, some. Oh, what the hell am I trying to say? There's some judgment calls you're going to need to make, because not all the information we want is available. But I don't want to do a generic army that I can use for any medieval period. That takes the fun out of it for me. Okay, let's go one level more. Yeah, I've heard that. People hate painting faces and horses and it's not pleasant until you figure out a way to paint them and you're happy with them, how they turn out, and then it brings life to those things. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. I should add dirt in there. Nah, you could take things too far. This isn't a diorama. It's not supposed to be realistic looking. That's not the look I go for. I don't think any of this is particularly difficult. It's just time consuming. It just takes a while. I hear the general population waking up. And a Yankee truck. Oh, man. I think for the most part, this is probably done. I think for the most part, this one's done. So, man, I like doing the heraldry. So, I'm going to check in with the other folks, and I may or may, well, I'm definitely going to come back and let you know if there's more to be seen. Hold on 1 second. Okay, we're back. All right. Well, I think at this point there's nothing else to do but start working on the other war wagon. So we will. Man, that turned out well. That's invigorating. Obviously, I could see somebody else's and it would look better than mine, but I'm really happy with it. You just kind of plug along and keep working at it. That's exactly the color I was looking for, you know. And again, I started with this. That's the color. When you add black to it, bring it up to this, and then start adding white. That's what you end up with. So, anyhow, really happy with how that turned out. That's always good. So, okay, on to the next one. You'll go over here, and just to kind of give you an idea, this guy matches his attire kind of matches. Yeah. And you know, there's stuff we're gonna after they're all done. I may tinker and put some metal on the axles or something like that. But let's just keep the juices going. So here's the other war wagon, before and after. So, all right, let's go ahead and I'm going to cut this one back down to size. Yeah, let's do the same thing. Worth the wait to see the wagons. Good morning, Jeffrey. Yeah, and it'll look even better when it's sealed. I don't know what it is, but when you add this, I don't know, it evens all the tones. It's some kind of magic, but it looks even better with that. So, and it looks even better in natural light. This isn't natural light. This is just my painting light, which I highly recommend. Let's do something a little bit different, even though this is going to cause a mess. Let's get this file out. Are there two sides? Yeah, it's as rough as the other one. This is older than, I don't know where I got this file. I probably commandeered it from somewhere else. So this may have been what I should have done with the first one, but. I see. It doesn't come out. It doesn't come out evenly. It's not like this is made in some, precise factory. These are just guys that throw their farm wagon and modify it accordingly. A little bit more. Nearly. All right. This is taking too long. And I got all these filings everywhere. Damn it. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, it'll fit now. Yep, okay. Get out of the way before I murder myself. All right. Where is... Hey, look, it's my Russian flag. I should work on them next. Get them done. I think I got like 7 or 8 nights to do, like actual night figures to do, and then it'll be done. So that's what I should do next. But I'm hard-headed sometimes and don't listen. Got some Russian buildings to do, so I get them done. We'll have a little Russian village. All right, let's get some of this tacky taffy stuff. How'd the Pack 38 turn out? Yeah, that's going to be Panzer Gray. I don't know if I got a gun crew for it. I bet I do. I prefer my Germans gray. And then I've noticed a lot of vehicles are, like I said, I've been out of doing the World War II stuff for 20 years or so. And I've seen a lot of people do their Wehrmacht vehicles with the Panzer Gray. It has a hint of blue in it. So I'm like, all right, what's the deal on that? And I guess the jury's still out on it. So we'll see what the Vallejo Panzer Gray looks like. That's probably what we're going to use and call it a day. All right, let's go ahead and paint it black. Cue the music. I have a feeling, I don't want to curse myself, but I have a feeling this army will do fairly well. It will be a compatible playing style. Well, the fact that they have one blade and two solid spear. That alone, that's right down my alley. I got 3 guys I can count on. So, and of course I'm talking about, for an open type setting. Okay, we'll let this dry. Rinse that out. How long are we doing? 3 hours and 23 minutes? Doesn't seem like it to me. It seems like about an hour to me. So that's what we're here for, to get shit done. Like I mentioned before, I cannot buy stuff for a long time and have plenty of things to work on that I like. So I'm in good shape in that department. All right. Let's good thing, right? Just in time for shipping to be through the roof. Well, it also means I'm going to be working on things that have been out for a long time. You're not going to see me painting the latest and the greatest figures available out there, unless I need to buy a few to kind of fill things in, But all right. Drink coffee, of course, which is what I prefer. I like to talk about drinking alcohol, but other than on game night, I never drink. It puts me to sleep. Okay. I don't remember what brush I used for this. I don't think I used this one. I don't want to mess this one up. I think we have a sloppier brush we can use to throw the first coat on there. How about this one? Let's do that. Let's use a sloppier brush. We want to save our better brushes for more precise activity. All right, here we go. Let's get what I like to call our negative shade. The shadows. Oh, this has a booger here. We better fix that. A piece of flash in here. Oh, this whole thing came off. Wow. This stuff peels funny. Look at that. What if that means it's not very durable? I don't give a shit. Let's go. Ain't nobody got time for that. There we go. All right, let's go to the other end. Yeah, this stuff, this paint, this Vallejo primer has some polyurethane properties to it. I don't know exactly what the makeup is of it, but it even says it's got polyurethane. Let's see, acryl polyurethane primer. Shaped for using, applying light coats or with an airbrush. Very resistant. Very resistant. Suitable for plastic, brass, resin, etc. Allow primer to cure 12 hours before getting masking process. Yeah, well, we don't do masking. So, yeah, they don't want the stuff to come out. I know I'm probably doing this a lot sooner. I'm probably supposed to wait 24 hours to start painting, but I don't have time for that. I use the primer more to cover the shadows and holes and anything else. So just like when I do the spray sealant, I bet you're supposed to wait like 24 hours between coats. Yeah, I'm not waiting 24 hours. I'm waiting 2 maybe. So hey, I can't be patient about everything. So what symbol are we gonna put on this one? Maybe those little stripes. Yeah, maybe those little stripes. Oh, we could do the polar opposite of that cross. That might not be bad either. So in other words, a red cross on a white background. We'll see. We'll make the right decision when the time comes. Oh, this got too watery. What happened? Yeah, what happened? All right, let's go over here. Yes, I'm a coming. Oh, here's what I wanted to show you. Oh, you want me to try that? Look, look, cute, right? The little bastards would be shooting out of there. What'd you do? You made a yummy coffee drink? Yeah, you did. Lavender? Okay. Okay. I don't think I'll be able to get a chance to finish this guy in this sitting, but that's okay. We need to make all the forward progress we can. I was really excited about doing these war wagons at the beginning of the army, and then I had the war wagon snafu, as I like to call it, which turned out just fine, but it kind of bummed me out. And I switched to the other part of the army, and then when I'm just left with the war wagons, I'm like, I don't really want to do the war wagons. But now that I've got one of them painted, I'm like, yeah, let's get these guys on the battlefield and kick some ass. Let's get some wins for the old record. uh, and you can make this army really, really heavy. You could use them as an ally. They can have poles as allies, so you could replace those light horse with more knights if you wanted to. Not that I'm a huge knight fan, but the thing about knights is other people really don't like them. So it scares other people. What did I do down here? Oh, I just like completely ignored that area. Okay, well, it's not visible. Perfect. Yeah, other people are really scared of knights. I'm not particularly scared of them, facing them. Because things can go south for them. Oh, you hear that? That's not a Yankee truck. Yankee jet plane. No, that's actually, that's my wife blowing. We have a little portable, we have a little kind of a splash pad in the back. Maybe it's 10 by 10, and it gets a lot of leaves and stuff back there. And we bought a rechargeable battery type blower, so you're not having to bring the big blower from the garage every time you want to blow it. It works really well, but it's actually not very loud. But that's just on the other side of my window, and I'm probably going to hang out outside for a little bit. The weather is gorgeous, so I'll probably do that. Have my second breakfast, I guess it would be, or is it my third breakfast? I don't know. I woke up at 5, so I get several breakfasts. When you wake up early, you get first dibs on that, you know. Yankee jet plane. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap up now and pay some attention to the other people that live with me. And we will catch you guys maybe later today. We will see. But anyhow, so we got some ass kicking progress done. So really happy with that. Okay, folks, enjoy your Saturday or Sunday, depending what part of the world you are. And happy painting. Catch you guys next time. See ya.